Welcome back to the Slightly Crooked Workshop. Today I'm building a Shou Sugi coffee table. I think it's actually called Sugi, and Shou Sugi is the brand name. I've wanted to do something with this process for a while, but wasn't sure about taking it all the way to a char, so I went about halfway there. Went with an easy set of legs in the shape of a box. I started out by cutting 2x6 down to size to make the box-shaped legs. The portion running the width of the table is 3 inches longer than the height, so they're about 20 by 17. Next I marked out where I was going to place the screws. I decided to use a 1/2-inch Forstner bit to recess the screws and then plug the hole with a dowel. If I had to do this again, I would either buy a plug cutter or buy plugs, since the end grain of the dowel doesn't burn the same way as the face grain, although I wasn't planning on having this issue. I have links in the description to everything I use in this video, as well as a link to the written article with detailed instructions including the measurements I use. Here I'm gluing and screwing the legs together using a right angle clamp. I cut the dowels down in size and then glued them in each of the holes. Then I came back with a saw, cut the dowels off, and sanded everything flush. Next I got started on the top by ripping off the rounded edges of some 2x10s. Then I glued them up and clamped them together. I shouldn't have to worry about bowing or warping since these are 2x boards and they'll be supported across most of the surface by the table legs. After gluing, I gave all the edges a 1/4 inch round over with my trim router and then sanded everything down to 180 grit. To burn the wood, I'm using a MAP gas torch. This is my first time doing this, so it took a little while to figure it out. I recommend starting on the bottom first. One big thing I would suggest is that if you're going to go through the trouble of buying a handheld torch, you should definitely spend the extra $10–15 and get a MAP gas torch. It also works with a propane tank, but the MAP gas burns hotter. So if you ever need to use a hotter burning gas for something such as sweating copper pipe, you won't need a second torch. I finished up the top with 3 coats of polyurethane. Here I'm just aligning the legs to make sure they're evenly spaced from all the edges. Last, I drilled out 1 1/4 inch holes with a Forstner bit to accommodate lag screws and washers. I'm using 2-inch lag screws, and I didn't use a washer the first time, and the legs were wobbly. After adding a washer, they were rock solid. I tightened the lag screws with a ratchet so I would have more control over the force applied and not run the risk of cracking the wood or bending the washer. You can see that I also burned the legs. Originally, I was going to paint the legs with a metallic black to mimic steel legs, but wasn't happy with the test piece, so I ended up torching them. To be honest, I'm kind of indifferent about this table. I like the top, but I think it would look much better with actual steel legs. Either way, it's solid as a rock and I can stand on it without any issues. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing.